good for footy, please, Hoyne?
It is good for footy that these two teams are in a grand final.
Why is it so?
We are in a sheep industry. We always have been, that it is follow the leader. What do the best do? And if that is the case, and the competition are going to follow these two, my God, we're going to be happy for the next period of time.
Good brands of footy.
So come with me on this. We'll step through why this is good for footy. They are both top 4 offensively and top 6 defensively. That top 6 one is the biggest one for me. They are not locked in and wedded to defence, 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 defence. Just give me a defensive profile, 4, 5, 6. That's fine, because we can hold up. We're good enough to hold up. But my God, we're going to throw everything at you offensively to see if you can hold up. We're throwing punches. We're not... Adelaide and Collingwood, we're holding. We're 1-2 defensively here. We're 1-2 defensively there. We're 1-2 there. Offensively against the best. No good. These two, 4, 5, 6. That's enough defensively. But offensively, look out. We talk about ball movement being 75% of the game. And yes, understand, no one wants the game played out of your back half. But if you can't move it, you can't compete. What are these two? Top 3 in the ball movement game. One end of the ground to the other. We've introduced speed of ball movement this year, and we have spoken about it together week after week. It is the greatest cheat sheet that is going around. We've initially thought fast doesn't equal good and slow doesn't equal bad. You can play whatever you want to play.
But
guess what these two do? They are quick. Last year, 2024, the 2 fastest teams in the competition. This year, Geelong are the fastest team we have seen in 7 years in our speed of ball movement. Brisbane are top 5 for speed.
So if you're into the aesthetics of the game and you're a neutral, these are the good guys.
Beautiful. It's great to watch.
They're playing for the right team.
Do you know how they do it? It's called football. These two kick it more than anyone else in the competition.
called football.
Football.
Set to Sharon Free.
Football.
They use their feet.
They use their feet through beautiful skills and can slice through you through the change of angles play, or can take you on through corridor, or they'll just go long and take on contest. Whatever way they want to do, because they move it through feet. They play football. What they do, they take more uncontested marks than anyone else in the competition. But like we've spoken about with a lot of other teams in the comp that play the uncontested mark game, who play that way to defend with the footy and protect your back half. Not these two. They get it and go.
Go quick.
Get it and go. Get it and go. It's an uncontested mark game in an aggression. We're going forward and we're moving it on quick. But we know finals is chaotic. We've talked about that for a couple of years. The uncontested marking game is taken away. It's okay. It's fine, because you know what we are, both of us? We're top 4 in the ground ball game. So when the ball's on the deck, we're fine too. We're okay. You know, I've had this saying for a couple of years on this show.
History.
I'll back history until history changes. 3 key elements of the game that the Premiers have been top 6 for the for the last 12 years. Defence, ball movement, territory. There are only 2 teams in the comp this year that were top 6 in all 3.
Grand final.
They're featuring grand final day.
You've been strong. I reckon for 4 months you've been clearly saying these two sides are numerically the best 2 sides in the comp.
And I'm not too sure what you two think when you just sit back and just watch these two just on the eye. But they are appealing to watch. There's no rubbish in their game. There's no boring lockdown. We're here to concede 60, 70 points. No, you know what? You've got to come out and score 90-plus points against us to beat us. And if you do, well done. And we're going to drop some games along the way. We're going to have a couple of stinkers along the way. But we know the way that we play come finals time and what these two have done. So we know Geelong have changed their method since 2022 to be, we're going to go as opposed to the defend with the ball model. They've played 7 finals with that model. They've lost once. And in that one finals against Brisbane last year, they were in front with 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
We know the Brisbane story. Their last 7 finals, or their last 10 finals, really, they're 8-2.
Mm.
Attacking, aggressive, throw the punch works. It stacks up in finals. They will lose some games along the way. But if the competition jumps on board these two, happy days.
I'm being a little facetious, but are you saying 21 goals beats 20 goals on Saturday? Are you saying it's going to be an absolute shootout at the OK Corral?
I don't think it will be a shootout, but it's not going to be a snooze fest. It's going to be great to watch.
Yep.
And it's going to be, whoever wins it is going to score close to 100 points.
Yep.
Which is just, it's just good for footy.
For all those who are besotted by clearance and ruck work and centre bounces, etc., where does that sit in? Because clearly the Cats on the weekend totally dominated the clearance. Where does it sit in, given that you've got an A-grade midfield up against a workman-like midfield inside?
Leave that one
Okay.
for the discussion.
Right.
That is coming on the agenda in a big way.
Okay.
Don't you worry about that, Joe.
So
We'll get into that.
Kane's hanging around near the door.
We will get into that.
All right, we've also been brought to you by Powercore tonight, working in all conditions to keep your power connected. That's essential as the Brownlow. How'd you take in the Brownlow, Hoyne?
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I just caught up with it this morning. This morning.
you already knew what was going to happen, so there's no point.
Not
Yeah,
really.
don't
I
spat
don't-
it
I
out.
don't- No, that's just.
Spat it
You
out.
already
Just
knew.
tell me the result. Just tell me the result when I got up at 5:45 this morning, and happy days, and we'll have a look at what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Hang on,
As
just
I s-
before we get into the Brownlow, were you Dacos or Rowell?
we had Dacos 1, Rowell 2.
Right. Jeez.
So
You were close.
again, and I don't really dip into this space in the Brownlow area, but I will because it suits the narrative at the moment.
Okay.
Back history until history changes. It's now 18 of the last 18 Brownlow medalists have all been top 6 for contested footy. 18.
Yeah.
There were only 3 legitimate chances last night off history.
Yeah.
That was Matt Rowell, Tom Green, and Caleb Sarong. So it is interesting when you look at it from a Brownlow sense, and it obviously makes sense that the contested clearance
Yeah.
players are there, the handballers are there. So,
Under the nose.
So 18 of 18. Just think about that next year if you're looking to have a bit of a look at who might win the Brownlow. 18 of 18 have been top 6. But I just want to talk about Matty Rowell and just celebrate the player that he is before we get into the weekend's footy. And I thought, it might have been 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, Kingy did a really good piece on the evolution
Yep.
of Matty Rowell over the last 4 years and just slowly step through how he's changed his game over the last 4 year period. And he's gone from being 173rd in the comp, 72nd, 25th, and this year a top 15 player in the competition. And he's done it through winning more ball, clearly. 4 years ago, averaging 18 disposals. This year, 26. But I think we can all probably recognise and appreciate just how he's actually changed the way in which he's actually winning the footy. 4 years ago, close to 70% of his footy was won in a contest, which is a hard way to live, I would have thought, G. And, obviously you've been there as a midfielder throughout your whole career if you're relying on winning footy at that rate of contest. This year, it's a 50-50 split between contest and uncontested footy. And yes, they are a better team, but as a result, he's gone from 4 score involvements a game to close to 8 score involvements a game this year. So you've got that aspect of his game that he's now able to get it done both inside and outside. But if we just draw back to the inside game, which is still clearly he's one wood.
Yeah.
He's by that far and away the best clearance player in the competition. It's not funny this year. Clearly the number one clearance player in terms of, raw clearance won for the year, but in terms of the effective clearance. So not just winning it and dumping it and the opposition win it back. He won close to 20 more clearances that were effective and allowed his team to generate, some offensive return. No one generated more scores from their own clearance work more than what he did. And in terms of winning that initial possession and then ensuring that your team went forward and got the clearance, Bont 1, Matt Rowell number 2. So you know, I know that there was that decision, Sammy, you would have, 100% better idea than me around halfway through the year. Was he going to go or was he not going to go? Is he going to stay or is he not going to stay? Just think if you were one of those clubs that you might have been a chance, you might not have been a chance. Like, think of what Paddy Dangerfield has done to Geelong for 10 years. That's what Matty Rowell could have done to one of those teams or could do for Gold Coast by staying there. That's the sheer impact that this guy can have. And
a sensational assessment, given that, all day we've heard different methods that we need to have. I think Ralphie said it was just about bust the Brownlow medal
voting system.
Voting system, and yet you're telling us he's, by champion data's reckoning, he's the second best player in the competition.
Yeah, he's absolutely a worthy winner.
Yeah.
The development in his game that you touched on is so massive. Like a couple of years ago, he couldn't sort of run out of sight on a dark night, could he? Like he just had no speed. It seemed like no coverage. I don't know if he was sore or he was battling at that time, but he was
just quite quick, isn't he?
Yeah, or it was a mental, maybe a mental thing that he just. But whether he got a sprint coach or whatever he did, his ability to win it inside and go outside now with, as you say, Gerard, some serious toe. Is really admirable because he looked a world away from that a couple of years ago.
No, he did. So well done to Matty Rowell. And
do you get extra points for shrugging players off?
Absolutely, you do.
Right.
You go from bringing it in a physical, congested sense to getting to the outside. Absolutely, you get rewarded. So well done to Matty, and can't wait to watch the next 10 years of his career.
Love it.
He's a bit like Nathan Fyfe. You couldn't tackle Nathan Fyfe for a period of time. And just blokes were getting thrown into the grandstands, just bouncing off him.
He's absolutely relentless, isn't he, Matty Rowell? Someone's saying he was lighter and faster than 22-23. That's from Andrew. Thanks for text, Andrew. Win one of 4 $250 vouchers from Signet to Power Protect and connect your everyday tech. Enter at sen.com.au/win. All right, let's go back and revisit how these two sides got there, Hoyne. Let's start with the Cats, who demolished Hawthorn on Friday.
Yeah, so just quickly have a look at the Geelong Hawthorn game, and I want to talk about dread time. Dread time. So it's not red time.
It's dread.
It's dread time.
Dread time.
If you're playing against Geelong, you are dreading the time on period of quarters. So time on period, 20-minute plus. Right? So listen to this. Right? Points differential this year in time on of quarters. The whole season. These are the top 5 teams. GWS 5th, plus 144 points. Adelaide, plus 155. Gold Coast, plus 158. The Bulldogs, plus 166. Geelong, plus 422 points. Plus 422 points. They are 260 points better than any other team in time on quarters. That is the 5th best record in Champion Data's history.
In dread time.
Do you know what's happened to the 4 best teams, the 4 better teams?
They've won.
Flag, and the Cats in 08 who stuffed it up. And now listen to this. What they have done in their 2 finals. In dread time, on the weekend, the preliminary final, 56 points to 2. In the qualifying final, in dread time, 58 points to 21. We watch them on the outside and sit there all year watching them, and you sit there on the level and you're watching them these 2 finals. They are powerful in how they run. You sit back watching and go, this is just amazing to watch. And then you look at this and you go, if you can't go, how do you go with them?
So is it as simple as that? That's your theory?
Well, I don't know. Well, no one has. Like,
there's Fags parked the bus in dread time.
Plus 422 points.
That's amazing.
The next best team is plus 160.
So, I knew you'd pull one out in the grand final week. That's one of the best stats we've heard.
So we talk about fitness and running and speed and what have you, and it's a hard one to run. The post-clearance stuff, right? They've dominated it in their 2 finals. They've lost it once of their last 15 games. It's going to be 18, 19, 20 degrees and sunny on Saturday. They want to play on the biggest ground in Australia as possible because of their running and power. So how Brisbane address this, and we'll step into the grand final a little bit more after the break, but one of the guys alluded it to me later on this afternoon. I fell off my chair when it started to dive into it.
I'm just getting back on mine.
Stat of the year says 655 off the text. So Brisbane, you'd like to think, would be aware of this, and then what they may or may not do to combat it if they are in red time.
So you talk about Chris Cott's post-game presser, right? When he was asked, "Is this the healthiest and paraphrasing, is this the healthiest or best position that you've been in heading into a grand final?" He didn't even think twice. Yep. And you go, geez, there's a lot of confidence there. Well, this at the last 7 games in dread time, plus 247 points.
So that's just a simple matter for you, as they are just running the opposition into the ground. Their needle's going to empty far earlier than Geelong's, clearly.
So no one's been able to keep up with them. Like that, it's remarkable. So, so the Brisbane situation. Okay, well, how do we manage this? Like, do we need to do something different?
Do they then go to defend with the ball?
In dread time, in dread time, which is they've got the experience, they've got the skill to potentially be able to play a different method or not, or do they just back themselves in and go, yeah, we understand that they're good, but we're good too, and we're going to keep going. I don't know, but that, as I said, I only came across that late today, and it, that is frightening. So if you're sitting there, as a Brisbane supporter, and you see the clock turn to the 20-minute mark on Saturday, just strap yourself in and just pray to God that the scoreboard is minimal damage.
Because they're not just a little bit better than the next best; they're miles better than the next best. So
more than double the next best team in the comp.
Quite amazing. And the Irish brothers, the Tag brothers, they set their sights on one. I think was expected, maybe the other one less so.
So just the Hawthorn, it's more the Hawthorn situation. Right. So we talked about the Hawk wagon last week being Watson, Gunston, Newcombe. Right? And Atkinson, Newcombe, tick, you got that right, G. We floated that Mullen should go to Watson, and he did. And it's more of a recognition, and the O'Connor to Weddle one, that was, I didn't see that one coming. That was genius by the coaches. But it's more recognition for Hawthorn that a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old are put up on the whiteboard by probably the best team in the competition that we're going after. Yeah. Right. So you're in good. Yes, you're disappointed with what happened on the weekend, but you're in good shape that you've got a 20 and a 21-year-old coming. The trade period will be really interesting because, yes, Merritt might be available or he might not be available, but the biggest one for me would be Zach Butters and Hawthorn. So I know he's a free agent at the end of next year.
Yep.
Sammy, is that right?
That's right.
So the decisions that they're going to have to make as a list management committee, do we wait the 12 months for the free agent? Do we go now to get Merritt? Can we get Butters out now? I'm not too sure. So clearly that's going to be a point of conversation. But as I said, for Watson and Weddle to be tagged and really shut out of it is probably a good learning curve for them heading into the off-season.
So they get Will Day to come back into the team. So there's one A-grade mid. You're still saying they need another.
They need one more, don't they? They need it.
You can never have enough.
No, I don't. Yeah. The question, the hardest question for them to answer is the Will Day, the health check of Will Day. Like
the reliability
How
factor.
much can you rely on him?
Yeah.
I mean, because, if you were to say to Sam and the Hawthorn coaches that you're going to get 25 games out of him next year, well, we're in a pretty good position. And if we can get another midfielder on top, happy days.
Question with that notice here from Andrew and Highton. I'm not sure if you read this out. Where are Brisbane rated in dread time? Did you cover that off? That's a question with our notice we can circle back on if need
Yeah, I'll get that for you. Leave that with me. I'll get that for you during the ad break.
All right, we'll come back to you on that one, Andy. And there's another question here. What happened in dread time when these two played each other in Geelong earlier this year? I think that's a smart aleck question for Chris there. So all gloves are off.
Go to the supporter base.
All gloves.
Love it. I love it.
All gloves are off right about now. All right, we'll get to Collingwood and Brisbane after the break. Hoyne?
Yeah, I might just quickly step into the Harris-Andrews conversation, then we'll pick up a little bit of an aspect of that. What Harris is doing at the moment, he's in the best 7-week stretch of his career for 4 years. And his ability to be able to control the airways through either intercepting it or just absolutely killing that contest is second to none at the moment. And as good as he was in that qualifying final, where he probably was the only back 6, back 7 player that actually stood up and had a significant impact, he potentially might have to go to an even greater level this week because they're coming up against the best forward 50 in the competition that put on a huge score against them in the qualifying final, kicking 16-16.
Did he play on Neil last time?
He did, and Neil only kicked 1 goal. So I know I've heard a few people go, yeah, well, what do you do with Shannon? Well, didn't change things in the first final. It was everyone else and this powerful running machine to be able to generate the opportunities. But what Harris is doing at the moment is absolutely next level.
He's going all right, the Lions co-captain. All right, we'll delve deeper into the Collingwood Brisbane Lions prelim final next. Now, the Lions made it back to a third consecutive grand final. You got to guess who for it?
Guess who? Bailey Smith had 35 disposals and over 600 metres gained. How many other Geelong players have done that in a final in their history, in the club's history? How many other players have done that?
Just give us that guess who again one more time.
So Bailey Smith had 35 disposals and over 600 metres gained against Hawthorn. How many other players have done that in Geelong's history? The last 20 years.
In a final?
In a final. Yeah, in
We're
a final.
not exactly flush with help off the footy.
No, they're gone to sleep on this one.
Tumbleweeds have rolled through on this one. This could be plenty or it could be none. I'm going to say 2. And you're going to want names too, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Gary Ablett Jr. and Isaac Smith.
Oh, Isaac Smith, real
Very
good one.
good. Nice from you.
Yeah.
I'm going none.
There might be plenty.
Lateral. Love it.
Not correct.
No, very close. It was very close, though. Isaac was very close. So only once has it happened in Geelong's time, and that was Paddy Dangerfield in 2016 preliminary final.
I reckon someone did nail that off the text, to be fair to them.
So the reason why I wanted to bring up Bailey, there's always a reason as to this, is he's had a fantastic season. His preliminary final was sensational. That was his 4th highest rated game for the season.
Yep.
But he has struggled in the 3 matches against Brisbane.
Why has he done that?
So far this season. Out of his 7 lowest rated games of the year, 3 of them have come against Brisbane.
Did the computer tell you why he struggled?
No, the computer didn't tell you. I can throw you the vision, and you can go and have a look. So 3 of his 7 lowest rated games this year have been against Brisbane. So he's still been able to win the footy against Brisbane, but they've done a fantastic job in being able to just clamp him on the outside and not let him run and dash and impact like we saw him against Hawthorn.
Yeah.
So something just to keep an eye on there. For Bailey and anyone else having to think about anything potentially Norm Smith related this weekend.
I can't believe that's only happened once. For all the finals Geelong have played and all the unbelievably good players that have worn the hoops since Champion Data's been doing its thing, that's incredible. I can't believe Gary Ablett Jr. didn't rack him up either, by the way. All right, Champion Data's Daniel Hoyne is with us. Collingwood and the Brisbane Lions. The Lions stoppage game.
Yeah, so we'll just wrap up the prelims before we get into the 4-point plan for the grand final match this weekend. So the Lions stoppage game off the back of the Geelong stoppage game is just going to be absolutely significant. So they didn't handle Geelong at stoppage in the first qualifying final. They were fumbly. They had their hands on the ball first more often than what Geelong did, but couldn't get out and couldn't handle what Atkins and Dangerfield and Blitzarves and these guys were doing at stoppage. But their last 2 finals has been a significant turnaround. First against Gold Coast defensively, to give up only 3 scores off the back of clearance against a powerful clearance machine was a huge tick. They completely took away that. So they've done that defensively, well done. And then the prelim, they go whack themselves with their own power and their own talent.
How many goals from stoppage was it? Was it 11? 10.
10. 6 out of 7 in the third quarter to change the game and to put Collingwood completely on the back foot. So you think of that for Brisbane off the back of what Geelong have done in their 2 finals, where they've scored 122 points in 2 finals against the second and third best teams in the competition. It's powerful with what they're doing in terms of being able to strip the opposition with the ball. So they've lost first possession Geelong twice in both finals, but they've won clearance convincingly. So you think about it, your oppo gets their hands on the ball first. They think that they're out. Geelong are stripping them, and once you strip them, you're almost catching them offside, which then allows you to get the powerful offensive look going back your way, which is why they've been able to score 122 points, as I said, in their 2 games. So
is Atkins the best stripper in the league?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And Blitzarves is not too far behind him. So can Brisbane, and Brisbane have been so good for so long at learning from previous poor performances against opposition teams. So can they go to work on that and address that issue is going to determine significantly what happens on Saturday.
Used to happen a lot where when we had a top four that the two top clubs would play off again in the grand final. It doesn't happen all that often these days.
Hasn't happened since 2018.
Okay.
Yep. So
did the score reverse or was it the same?
Last 5 times it's happened, it's reversed 4 out of the 5.
Okay.
Oh.
So there is a learning component, isn't
Yeah,
there?
absolutely, there's a learning component.
The Collingwood offence has been a concern, a growing concern as the year's gone on. You wanted to raise it
So just
tonight?
a very quick one with Collingwood. Offensively, as we said, last 10 weeks, one of the poorer offensive teams in the competition, and unfortunately it was there for everyone to see, other than that second quarter on the weekend in the preliminary final. So we've talked a lot about Fremantle's speed of ball and then being hold, and go, and whether or not they need to release a little bit more. Well, Collingwood are in a very similar bracket. They hold slightly more than what Fremantle, slightly less than what Fremantle do, but they play a very similar brand, which is why I think a lot of the time their defensive numbers are strong, but offensively it's not there. And we talked about Brisbane and Geelong at the start of the show. They score, they move it quickly, they do. Do Collingwood look to change their ball movement next year? That's just something just to keep an eye on for the Pies heading into next year.
All right, Cobram Estate bring you our news headlines tonight. They are Australia's most awarded extra virgin olive oil grown harvested first cold pressed in northern Victoria. Righto, the grand final preview. So there's selection intrigue every year. This year, even by grand final standards, it feels huge.
So we'll go through the 4-point plan. So, one, we're not sure what Brisbane are doing with Neil or Berry, but we know that there's a selection decision to make with Geelong with Tom Stewart.
For what it's worth, Caroline Wilson just a short time ago reported categorically that Lachie Neale would play. So do with that what you will. Let's take that on face value. Lachie Neale's in.
Lachie Neale is in.
Lachie in.
result for
Lachie
Brisbane.
in.
Berry is.
I wouldn't have thought Berry would be playing, but
Okay.
we'll see.
So Tom Stewart out, right? So just first and foremost, what you're losing the game's best interceptor since round 15, and the game's best player in terms of being able to get scoreboard return from his intercept. So you can't just fob that off, right? But their win-loss record without Stewart in recent times has been fine. They won a final last year by 14 goals without him. So they've developed enough to be able to cover without him. To me, the replacement is all about what you want to do with blitz halves as opposed to replacing Stewart. And we just spoke about Geelong stoppage game, what they're doing. Oh, there's no way I'll be losing blitz halves out of the ruck.
Yep.
Absolutely no
So
way.
Reece Stanley can't come in then, can he?
And I think this might add to the wonderful book called Blessing in Disguise,
Right.
which is about 1,500 pages
Yeah.
long over the last 20, 25 years. Because Reece Stanley would have played this final series if he didn't twing his hammy. There's nothing against Reece at all. But now you've stumbled over this unbelievable centre bounce stoppage game off the back of what blitz halves is playing a significant role that you're not going, I wouldn't be losing that asset. And then you think about it and you go, okay, well, Zach Guthrie will take Tom Stewart's role. Zach Guthrie looked after Charlie Cameron qualifying final. Who can look after Charlie Cameron? Jed Buse can look after Charlie Cameron. So Buse in, Stewart out. And just keep it as simple
Would you
as that.
tweak the sub?
No.
No.
Well, they don't need to tweak anything else. They are flying on all cylinders. Chris could absolutely go the other way and pick Reece Stanley, and I wouldn't be surprised either. But if I was just saying, if it was me, that's what I'd be doing.
They did win centre bounce clearance 20-5 with the blitz in the ruck last time out.
Point number 2, the ball movement game. So, cracks to canyons. This is what this final series has been. Okay. If you have a crack in your game, that has ended your season, right? This is where this is going to be fascinating because the Cats are the number 1 ball movement team in the comp, as we said. Brisbane are bottom 5 for defending ball movement. Brisbane got opened up against Geelong in the first final. They got opened up against Gold Coast in the second final without getting the scoreboard return. Gold Coast were inaccurate from that bit of play. And Collingwood got through but didn't have the offensive power to capitalise. Geelong have got that. So can Brisbane tighten up or will that be their canyon grand final day? And then on the flip side, the old 40 winks. The old 40 winks.
I was worried about the 40 winks last week.
If Geelong concede 40-plus points from defensive half, that is their only weakness in this game. When they do, they're 2 wins and 5 losses. When the opposition don't reach that target, they're 17-1. Brisbane, 6 of their 11 goals came from back half. They fell just short. They love it. What did Hawthorn do when it was 15 points the margin during the second quarter when they kicked 6 goals? 4 of their 6 goals came from back half ball movement. They were on track to get 40 winks. They just didn't get there. So can Brisbane, and you would expect Brisbane to challenge that. Point 3, Hugh McCluggage.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back down memory lane here.
Okay.
And I love reading the premiership book from every team over the summer break. Everyone knew in the 2013 grand final that Ryan Crowley was going to Sam Mitchell. And the stoppage game was everything to Freo. They belted Geelong first final. They belted Sydney in the prelim. It was going to be a huge factor. What Sam Mitchell did grand final day, sucked up the ego, had 12 disposals and only 3 clearances, which Sam at his peak was 30 and 10 clearances, right? But he allowed Jordan Lewis to be the dominant midfield force grand final day. And what did Hawthorn do? They won stoppage grand final day, which was a significant reason as to why they won the flag against Fremantle this year. So everyone knows that Mullen will be going straight to McCluggage. So what do they do to potentially orchestrate something like Hawthorn did? Fags was there in 13, ironically, as well. What do they do to potentially orchestrate something to turn this into a positive where they can set the game up for a potentially a Lockie Neal, as you're saying, Sammy, who's playing, Will Ashcroft, whose finals record's superb, Zach Bailey, who at Cam Rayner, if he goes through there, I'm not sure. But I'm just going back to 2013. Can they set it up in a way that Hugh's not going to have the impact, but others will?
And the way that they did it with Mitchell was Mitchell ended up pushing over onto someone else. So it was a 2-on-1. And that's what they'll try and do and try and release someone else.
Yeah. So that there is just going to be going to be a fascinating just aspect.
Either that, or he could, if it's just going to mud, they could. And I know last week they tried everything. You go to back flank, go to forward flank. But if in fact they just said, no, you go and stand on Max Holmes and run with Holmes. You're tagging Holmes until you break your tag. It gives him an opportunity. Whether or not he can run with him is another question, but he's a darn good runner.
And then point 4. So for me, the number one concern, the number one concern for Brisbane on Saturday is Max Holmes.
Yep.
So his Dangerfield's prelim just ridiculous. But Dunkley and Danger feels like a reasonable matchup at centre bounce, and then what can they do when he goes forward? They'll work that out, I'm sure. But what Max has done at the MCG against Brisbane, it would be causing headaches. Highest rated player in the qualifying final, number 1 rated player on the ground in the prelim before he goes off, number 1 rated player on the prelim in 2022 before he goes off. So 3 finals in a row against Brisbane at the G, 1-1-1. And we talk about Dunkley to Danger, which I'm not sure if there's anyone else that has a good matchup for Max, but you can just picture, as I said, a nice sunny day, MCG, his ability to be able to explode out of stoppage into space and sort of cause a bit of carnage in this ball movement game would probably be the number one thing that would be, potentially keeping Brisbane and the coaching staff up. Is how do we stop that? We know that they have weapons themselves, Brisbane.
Yep.
How do we stop this guy? We've been able to stop Bailey Smith to a degree. Hopefully they get that job done again, for their sake. But the number 9 at Geelong, and just watching him last week at the ground, not sure what you two thought when you're watching it. Just watch it. It didn't look like he was going at absolute full rat power, which you could probably understand mentally. Whereas he was first final. So whether or not there's just that grand final there where he's ready to explode, those are the 4 key points for me for this grand final.
Given that Cats have done it a different way with the man-on-man Irishman, do you think this time next year, do you think we'll be sitting here and we'll be talking about other clubs with taggers, essentially?
I think we'll be talking about 2 things. Flexibility within your own team to establish who your taggers are so you don't get pulled around like Geelong don't get pulled around.